Oh, welcome back. This week, the fine fellers and fellettes at O'Reilly want to help you better understand.
Derek Bieri became a name fans of automotive restoration couldn't ignore. Known for his appearances on Vice Grip Garage, he gained a reputation for skill, dedication, and a passion for bringing old machines back to life. Viewers admired not only his craftsmanship, but also his charm and approachable personality. To many, Derek seemed to have it all: a thriving career, a devoted fan base, and the respect of colleagues in the automotive world. But behind the cameras, his story was far more complicated and heartbreaking than anyone could have imagined. What unfolded in Derek Bieri's life is a tale that goes beyond television cameras and engine grease. It is a story of personal struggles, challenges that tested his resilience, and moments that left even those closest to him worried and emotional. Fans who only saw his work on screen had no idea about the battles he quietly faced, the pressures he carried, and the decisions that weighed heavily on his heart. The tragedy of Derek Bieri is not just about the hardships themselves, it's about how they affected the man behind the public persona. It's about a life that inspired so many, yet quietly endured struggles that the world rarely sees. What happened to Derek is a deeply emotional story, one that reminds us that fame, talent, and skill don't make anyone immune to life's harsh realities. Derek Bieri's journey into the world of automotive restoration was built on passion, dedication, and an unwavering love for machinery. From a young age, he was captivated by engines, transmissions, and the art of bringing worn-out vehicles back to life. Friends and family recall him spending countless hours in garages, tinkering with cars, and absorbing every detail of the restoration process. This fascination didn't just remain a hobby, it became his life's work, eventually leading him to the spotlight on Vice Grip Garage, where fans could witness his talent firsthand. Derek's approach was methodical yet creative, blending technical precision with a personal touch that made every project unique. His reputation as a skilled restorer was well-earned, and those who worked with him admired both his knowledge and his ability to inspire those around him. But behind the visible success, Derek faced challenges that were far less visible. Being in the public eye brought pressures that went beyond technical skill. The expectations of fans, producers, and colleagues created an environment where he constantly felt the need to perform perfectly. Even a minor setback on a project could trigger waves of stress and self-doubt. While viewers saw confidence and expertise on screen, Derek often wrestled privately with the weight of perfectionism. He was someone who demanded the best of himself in every situation. And when things didn't go as planned, he was the first to feel the disappointment. Personal struggles also began creeping into his life during this period. Maintaining a balance between the demands of the show and his private life proved to be difficult. While fans assumed that his world revolved entirely around the garage, Derek's personal life was layered with responsibilities, emotional stress, and challenges that he didn't openly share. Close friends noted that he often appeared distracted or preoccupied during social interactions, a sign that the pressures he faced were not just professional, but deeply personal as well. The man the audience cheered for on television was carrying burdens that were invisible behind the cameras. Derek's work ethic, while admirable, became a double-edged sword. The drive that made him successful also left him vulnerable to exhaustion and burnout. The long hours spent on complex restorations, combined with the pressures of filming and fan expectations, created an ongoing cycle of stress. Yet, he pushed forward, determined not to disappoint anyone, not his audience, not his colleagues, and most importantly, not himself. Every car he restored was a testament to his skill and commitment, but each victory came with a cost to his emotional and mental well-being. What made Derek's story particularly heartbreaking was the contrast between public perception and private reality. To viewers, he seemed almost untouchable, a master of his craft, thriving under the bright lights of television and surrounded by admiration. But in truth, he was facing moments of intense vulnerability, grappling with the toll of high expectations and personal struggles. The very traits that made him extraordinary on-screen: dedication, meticulousness, and relentless drive also contributed to the emotional challenges he experienced off-screen. Ultimately, Derek Bieri's early career is a story of both triumph and tension. His talent and determination brought him into the homes of fans across the world, inspiring countless viewers and fellow restorers alike. Yet, alongside that recognition was a quieter narrative, one of struggle, emotional pressure, and the ongoing challenge of balancing personal well-being with professional success. Even as the world celebrated his skill, Derek was learning lessons about resilience, limits, and the unseen consequences of living life under constant observation and expectation. As Derek Bieri's career on Vice Grip Garage advanced, the pressures he faced became increasingly complex. While the public continued to see the polished results of his restorations and the confident demeanor he projected on screen, his personal struggles quietly intensified. The demands of filming schedules, deadlines for projects, and the need to maintain a high standard of quality for every restoration weighed heavily on him. Fans were unaware that behind the camera, Derek often battled fatigue and stress that made even routine tasks feel daunting. The passion that fueled his work was now accompanied by exhaustion, and balancing creativity with productivity became a constant challenge. Beyond professional pressures, Derek also navigated personal difficulties that were difficult to manage in the public eye. Family obligations, private relationships, and the desire to protect loved ones from the scrutiny of fans added layers of emotional complexity. Being a public figure in a niche yet highly visible segment of the entertainment world meant that every action, decision, and appearance was analyzed. Derek, who had always valued authenticity and integrity, sometimes found himself trapped between staying true to himself and meeting the expectations of an audience that often only saw the surface. This tension created moments of isolation, where he had to process fears, doubts, and anxieties alone. Even as he continued to perform at his best for viewers, the emotional toll of maintaining this balance began to manifest in subtle but concerning ways. Friends and colleagues noticed changes in his behavior, periods of withdrawal, heightened sensitivity, and moments of frustration that seemed out of proportion to the situation. Derek's determination to keep projects moving forward sometimes led him to suppress his feelings, believing that showing vulnerability might undermine his professional reputation. Yet, the constant pressure to appear in control created internal strain that was difficult to manage. Those closest to him recognized the burden he carried, but even they could not fully alleviate the weight of expectation that came with being a public figure in such a specialized, skill-driven field. Another factor that contributed to the tragedy of Derek Bieri's story was the inherent unpredictability of the work he loved. Restoring vintage vehicles is a complex process, often filled with unforeseen challenges. Each project could uncover unexpected damage or require hours of meticulous repair, beyond initial estimates. For Derek, every unexpected obstacle was more than just a technical challenge. It was a test of patience, emotional endurance, and problem-solving under pressure. While these situations highlighted his expertise and determination on screen, off-screen they sometimes became sources of immense frustration and stress. The very work that brought him joy also exposed him to moments of vulnerability that few outsiders could understand. Despite the struggles, Derek's commitment to his craft never wavered. He continued to pour himself into each project, treating every vehicle as a reflection of his skill and dedication. Yet, this dedication came at a personal cost. Long hours in the garage, repeated setbacks, and the constant demand to perform for an audience created an emotional toll that compounded over time. The tension between his passion for restoration and the personal strain it caused became a defining aspect of his life during this period. Ultimately, Derek Bieri's story during these years is one of resilience shadowed by quiet hardship. On screen, he inspired admiration and respect through his talent and professionalism. Off-screen, he endured struggles that the audience could only speculate about. His story serves as a reminder that success and skill, while visible and celebrated, often coexist with challenges that remain unseen. The tragedy lies not in his accomplishments, but in the emotional and personal battles that accompanied them, highlighting the human cost behind the polished work that captivated so many. As Derek Bieri continued to navigate life on and off Vice Grip Garage, the challenges he faced grew increasingly intertwined with his personal identity. To fans, he was a master restorer, a confident presence capable of transforming rusted shells into works of art. Yet behind the cameras, he struggled with the emotional weight of constant observation and expectation. Being admired for his skill came with an unseen cost, the pressure to maintain an image of composure, expertise, and reliability at all times. Even minor mistakes or setbacks, natural in any technical work, carried disproportionate stress because of the public's eye. Derek had to reconcile his love for restoration with the intense responsibility of being both a craftsman and a public figure. Friends and colleagues observed that Derek began spending more time in reflection, contemplating the gap between his public persona and private life. While he thrived in the garage, he also carried concerns about how much of himself he was losing in the process. Every moment spent on camera, every project completed for fans, came at the cost of personal energy and mental clarity. This internal struggle was compounded by the fact that people often equated his talent with his worth, creating pressure to excel not just professionally but emotionally as well. It was a delicate balance, and the weight of it often left him feeling vulnerable and exhausted. The work itself, though a source of immense pride, sometimes became a source of frustration. Automotive restoration is rarely a smooth process. Vehicles often hide complications that reveal themselves at the worst possible times. Derek approached these challenges with determination and skill. Yet each unexpected problem was another test of patience and resilience. The audience could see the final polished results, but they could not witness the emotional labor involved in those long hours of problem solving, adapting, and pushing forward despite setbacks. These moments, while ordinary in the craft itself, became emotionally taxing in the broader context of a life constantly on display. The tragedy in Derek's story is amplified by the isolation that often accompanies public recognition. While he had friends, colleagues, and a dedicated fan base, the pressure to appear confident and in control sometimes prevented him from sharing his struggles openly. There was a fear of appearing weak, of letting others see the internal toll the work and the scrutiny were taking. Even in moments when he sought support, he had to navigate the delicate balance between vulnerability and maintaining his professional reputation. This duality, being admired publicly while struggling privately, created an emotional tension that defined much of his later years on the show. Despite these difficulties, Derek's passion for restoration never waned. He continued to embrace projects with creativity, care, and commitment, demonstrating the very qualities that had made him beloved by fans. Yet the personal cost of sustaining such dedication became increasingly evident. Long hours, unexpected complications, and the constant demand to perform under observation contributed to a cumulative strain that left lasting effects on his emotional well-being. Derek's story is a reminder that talent and success do not shield anyone from the challenges of human vulnerability, nor do they lessen the impact of the pressures one carries behind the scenes. Ultimately, Derek Bieri's journey during this period is defined by resilience shadowed by personal struggle. The contrast between his on-screen success and off-screen challenges makes his story deeply human. While fans admired his expertise and charisma, the unseen battles he faced reveal a side of his life rarely discussed. The dedication, perseverance, and emotional endurance required to sustain his career highlight both the triumphs and the hardships of living a life in the public eye. Derek's story is not only about skill and fame, it is about the quiet, often invisible struggles that accompany them, and the courage required to navigate them every single day. As Derek Bieri's career progressed, the emotional and personal challenges he faced became increasingly intertwined with his identity. While fans admired his talent, dedication, and the transformative restorations he completed on Vice Grip Garage, few could fully grasp the emotional toll of living under constant observation. Every project came with the dual pressures of technical precision and public expectation. Even minor mistakes, natural in any restoration, could trigger self-doubt and stress. Derek carried the weight of this scrutiny with remarkable perseverance. Yet the hidden burden of maintaining his professional image was immense. Family, friends, and colleagues noticed that Derek often sought moments of solitude to process his thoughts and emotions. The intensity of the work, combined with the need to maintain a polished public persona, created a tension that was difficult to escape. He had to navigate the expectations of fans who admired his every move, while also attending to the realities of daily life and personal relationships. This balancing act required constant energy, patience, and resilience. Moments of downtime were often spent reflecting on the gap between the man on screen and the man behind the scenes, highlighting the emotional complexity of his journey. Compounding the difficulty was the unpredictable nature of automotive restoration. Vehicles brought into the garage often hid challenges that only revealed themselves after hours of work. These surprises, while routine to a professional, could be mentally and emotionally taxing when paired with the pressures of filming. Derek approached each challenge with dedication, creativity, and skill, but the cumulative effect of repeated setbacks and high expectations took a quiet toll. Even as fans celebrated his expertise and commitment, the reality was that Derek was often carrying heavy emotional weight while performing the work he loved. The tragedy of Derek Bieri's story is rooted not only in the visible challenges, but also in the unseen emotional strain. Maintaining success, inspiring fans, and excelling under constant observation required an extraordinary level of perseverance. He was expected to embody competence, charm, and unwavering confidence, even when internal struggles made these qualities difficult to sustain. This disconnect between public perception and private reality created an emotional burden that few could understand, leaving Derek to navigate personal challenges largely in solitude. Despite the hardships, Derek's dedication to his craft never wavered. He continued taking on demanding restoration projects, mentoring colleagues, and sharing his passion with audiences. His commitment was evident in every detail of his work, from meticulous engine repairs to flawless finishes, showcasing a level of skill and professionalism that few could match. Yet the personal cost of sustaining this dedication was undeniable. Long hours, intense focus, and the pressure to perform under observation contributed to ongoing emotional strain, reminding us that public success often conceals private struggles. Ultimately, Derek Bieri's story is a blend of inspiration and sorrow. His talent and perseverance brought joy, admiration, and entertainment to fans around the world. Yet the personal battles he faced reveal the human vulnerability behind the public figure. His journey reflects the resilience required to pursue a passion under the scrutiny of others, the courage needed to confront personal challenges while maintaining professional standards, and the quiet strength it takes to continue despite unseen hardships. Derek's legacy is not only in the vehicles he restored, but also in the reminder that every achievement comes with unseen effort, sacrifice, and emotional endurance. Through it all, Derek Bieri demonstrates the importance of perseverance, authenticity, and emotional resilience. His story is a testament to the challenges faced by those who work tirelessly in the public eye, the personal cost of excellence, and the courage required to navigate both success and adversity. It is a deeply human tale of talent, struggle, and the ongoing effort to remain true to oneself while fulfilling the expectations of a world that often only sees the surface.